All right, here we go. How you guys doing? I have the wonderful Ruby Red with me, and I'm the Cole Clayton.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? So what's been up with you, man? Did you work today?
No, hell no. I had the day off. I got Jack with me. Um, so doing our thing. What you
No.
up to?
Well, right now I'm rolling a blunt because I haven't smoked all day. I worked
Oh,
earlier
that.
this morning, but other than that, not much going on with me. I just work, come home, watch TV, clean my house. That's it.
Hell yeah, dude. It's like
So
hot in my house.
why is it hot?
I don't know, man. It's just like warm in here.
You been drinking?
Mm-mm.
No.
Nope. Everybody thinks that. Everybody's like, "Oh,
Well,
you must be drunk."
probably because you only have like a window unit, not like a central AC. I have central AC.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it sucks, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So you
Oh,
gamble?
wall unit. Thank you very much.
Right, wall unit. You gamble?
Yeah, like a lot.
Really? We've never talked about that. I had no idea.
I feel like that's kind of just like one of those things that I feel like people know about me, though. You know?
You see, I'm the opposite of that because like I don't know, just the fear that like was instilled in me from the gamblers in our family just made me so hesitant to even like try. I'm like, what the fuck I'm gonna do? Go waste some money? I'm not gonna do that. But we should clarify the gambler stories we got in our life. Like, you remember that story with our stepdad and the fucking scratch off tickets that you found?
Dude, that shit was wild.
You should tell him the
Um,
story.
do you even know the story? Like the
You've
whole
told it to
story?
me before, but I don't know if it was the whole story. Sometimes you be leaving bits out when I'm too young to know the truth.
I mean, it wasn't anything like that. I guess. Um, Mom had been with Mike for I don't know a year or two at that point. Um,
Mm.
and I guess Mom still kind of thought he was like a decent guy at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Which I mean, as far as like the guys that Mom has been with, like I mean, he was
he wasn't the
weird in
worst.
his own right, but he wasn't like the worst one by no means.
Clearly not.
Um,
Clearly.
but like I don't know what I was doing in his truck.
Probably looking
Um,
for a charger.
you want to clarify that statement?
So our stepdad, he was super weird. We have to like tell a whole vibe about him, but a little snippet is whenever he would go to work, everybody in the house would miraculously lose their chargers. Couldn't find them, checked every plug, checked every fucking cord. He would come home and we'd be like, Mike, do you have a charger? Did you move it? Like we none of us can find any of our chargers. And he'd go look for 2 seconds and come back with like a handful of chargers. And like we started to catch
And he
on.
would hit you with y'all just didn't look. Y'all just didn't look
He
for nothing.
Yeah, he would swear none of us looked. But every single time, you didn't even like you barely left the room, bro. So we all kind of like came to the conclusion that he was stealing our fucking chargers and stashing them, and then he would come home and find them for us to be made out to be like a hero. So that's that bit when I say he was probably looking for a fucking charger in
It
his
was
trunk
weird. It was like, but we didn't catch on to it for a while. You know what I mean? Like it
a
wasn't.
long time.
It just was one of those things where it's like it kind of just went unnoticed, and he always would talk shit. So it would like it would be like, I guess I didn't look. You know what I mean? Like, but
Right. I guess I
after
didn't.
like
Maybe I told
years of
you.
that shit, he would be like, "How the fuck does he keep doing that?" You know what I mean? Like,
We were like, where the fuck? And then we'd be like, where were they? Where were they? Because we looked the whole. Where were they? Oh, they were plugged into the wall. You just gotta look. Shut the fuck up, you fucking weirdo,
fucking
liar.
yeah, lying ass motherfucker. Like,
But anyway, back to
fucking.
the lottery story.
Okay, so this was kind of before, obviously, we had come up with the like. the Chargers shit. You know what I mean? Because by the time we put the whole thing with the Chargers together, I think
He
we
was damn
kind
near
of
moved out.
right. But so so I think I had moved out, probably moved back in. You know, but by the Chargers by the time, well, honestly, by the time we figured out he was like a weirdo, like
He was gone.
like we were just kind of like tired of him. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we had so much other shit about him. Like, but I think the lottery ticket situation was like one of the first times I was like, uh oh, red flag.
Like, this
You know,
dude's got an
like
issue.
so I had
Yeah.
been like 12 or 13. You know, at the time. Because he left and I had been about 20, right? So he was around for a long ass time. Um, but yeah, so the lottery ticket story was I was in his car or his truck. He had a little Ford Ranger, looking for something, and like you said, it could have been a phone charger, but I don't remember what. Truly. Hey Jack, what's up, buddy? You want to say hi?
Eh,
Hi, Jack.
eh.
You remember me, huh? You don't
What's that
remember
part?
me?
Seen you in a while.
I know I haven't seen you in
You
forever.
kinda
I'm gonna
look
come
a little
visit.
different.
I
You
know
kinda
I'm all grown up.
Yeah, Bert.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you doing today?
We're doing a podcast.
Yeah,
Like, what were you doing before the podcast?
I was at work. That's why I got my work makeup on. I don't wear this every day. I wear this to work.
Okay.
Bye,
He's
buddy.
like-
That's all
he's
you
like,
needed
all right.
to know. Just one question,
Right.
he's out. I like that kid.
They're like, oh, she's boring. So
Right.
moving on. All right, I'm gonna do a podcast. All right, so after the show, we'll do our show. Okay.
Okay.
Where was I?
You went to look in his truck. You were like 12 or 13.
Right. So this had been like 2007 for that math. And I'm digging around his truck. I don't even know where he was. Maybe he was inside or what, but for whatever reason, I'm looking in his truck by myself. And I know I'm like lifting shit and moving shit around, right? And then I go to like unzip. There's like he had like what are those, like seat covers?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That you can take off or whatever of your seats. Well, I went to go unzip that because it felt like there was something in there, and I was like, oh, maybe this is it. And I unzipped it, and then just like a sea of like the
Scratch off.
no, it wasn't scratch offs. It was like legitimate lotto tickets.
Oh, like the real ones you buy at the gas stations?
Yeah, well, I mean, you buy scratch offs at the gas station too, but like yeah, like the Powerball and all that shit. You know what I mean? Like that you bought from like they had the it was like the numbers or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't play the lottery.
Like the actual
But,
Powerball, yeah.
yeah, like legitimate Powerball, just a sea of those, and I was like, this is
If you had to estimate, how many? Like 100, 200?
bro.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
It wasn't no 100 or 200. It was. I'd be willing to place. I would be comfortable with saying 1,000. I would be comfortable with saying that number. Now, I'm not saying it's exactly 1,000. I'm not saying it could be 900, 800, could be
Oh,
1,100, but it was around 1,000, dude. Like it was a lot of fucking legit.
and so when
I just unzipped it and they just spilled out, dude. Like from the top and the bottom. Like it was just full of them.
So when you're 12 or 13, you knew what the lottery tickets were, kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them before. You know what I mean? Like,
And even being
our
a
grandmother
child,
used them.
Oh, okay. So even being that young, you still were able to put two and two together and be like, wow, this is a problem. He has a problem.
Yeah, but Liberty, I was smarter than you. Well,
Fuck you. Fuck you.
like I was a different kind of 12-year-old than when you were 12. You know what
Well,
I mean?
my bad. My bad. I was more sheltered. My bad for being the
and it's
only
not.
girl.
I mean, that's not your fault. It was just the fact that
I mean, you were
I
the
would get.
first of all of us. You know, you were just
It
you
wasn't
were
even
the
that. It was
experiment.
just the fact that I was left in charge of you guys, fucking 5 other kids from 8 years old on, and who knows where the fuck mom is? You know what I mean? Like she wasn't a communicator. Like she could have been at work. I don't know, but she didn't communicate that shit. She was just like, anytime you ask mom a question, still to this day, she's like, "That's not your business." Yeah, you don't ask mom shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, just at a young age, mom just left. So I had to put deductive reasoning together quickly in life. You know what I mean?
Right. So when they fell out, did you attempt to put them back?
Yeah, I tried. It was just there was no.
So he knew you. So he probably went to the
Yeah,
truck.
it was I was just
So he probably knew you, and you never said anything to mom.
no. What happened? So what happened is I just left it. I was just like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Because that's the type of person I am. I'm like, well, if I can't fix it, it's too late. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I
I'm
just
not gonna
pretended
stress about it.
I just pretended I didn't like. I was just like, I'll let Mike fix it, figure it out. You know what I mean? This is his problem. You know what I mean? So, but mom saw it first. And I remember probably later on in the afternoon, or maybe it was the I don't know, next morning or whatever. But I just remember mom saying, hearing mom's outside, I'm inside, and just hearing, you know, mom was loud, you know, so I just hear, what the fuck? You know, just. And it was
So
just
mom
wild.
found out she was screaming and cussing at him when she found out about the ticket.
Yeah.
Oh
And
shit!
then this, it got brought over to me because everybody knew that I was looking in the car, you know.
Right.
So mom was like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And I was just like, "I didn't know what it was."
Right. I don't want nothing to do with it. I didn't see nothing. I know the fuck it was.
Right.
That's
I don't know
funny.
what those are. I don't know. I thought they were receipts.
That's a
Which
good
technically
one.
they are.
That's a good one. That's a good lie right there. You was a quick fucking thinker. You had that shit, bro. And but the thing was that wasn't Mike's only gambling story. We have a bigger gambling story. Remember?
I heard about it, but I think I had already moved out by then.
Oh, so you want to hear it?
Sure.
Okay, so we already know we all moved. We moved a lot. We moved all the time. It was just a constant thing in our lives. We was always moving, right? Well, mom had bought some storage units, right? And I think it was 2 because I mean I helped fucking pack the storage units, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
we had 2 storage units full of shit, just full of stuff. I mean, beds, baseball cards, clothes, furniture. I had my Barbie Jeep car from when I was younger. I will give mom that. When I was a kid, I wanted a Barbie fucking Jeep car for Christmas, and I fucking got one. So I'll give my props to mom. Thank you, mom, for my Jeep car. Anyway, so
My Jeep car.
yeah, a Barbie
You still
Jeep
don't have
car.
a real car. That's the funny part.
Yeah, I know. Anyway,
You're old enough to drink, not old enough to drive, apparently.
and I don't do either. But we had 2 storage units full of. And do you remember those clear baseball cards? Those clear. We had a box, 2 or 3 boxes of old vintage baseball cards growing up, and mom always
No, those are all Mike's.
those were Mike's.
Yeah,
For some
he was
reason, I thought these were at with the brothers, because I mean, Carson Richardson had some.
What? Which one of your siblings watches baseball?
None of them. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so those were his. That makes more sense now that I'm older.
And that's the thing. He's a super collector.
I didn't know that
So
either.
he was
I
buy,
didn't know.
not only was he buying these god awful like lottery tickets, he was also buying like just spending dumb money on baseball cards.
He had a money problem. Like he would spend money anywhere. He would bet money. Like I think mom made comments about how he used to like bet on racehorses back in the day. Like he used to go to the casino. Like he had a fucking gambling problem when it came to anything. So mom and Mike, and funny story about Mike was at some point I had started to call him dad, and then at some point I had started calling him Mike again. So what does that tell you? But anyway, so
It's weird that you
Mom-
called him dad in the first place, but I guess you
Right.
didn't. You
I
were
was
too
four.
young, like to
I was
know the
4 when
difference. I
mom
guess.
got with him.
Yeah, because I was like 11, you know, so like I remember him not being around, you know, so
Yeah, I used to tell Gabriel, and I was like, shut the fuck up. I used to call him dad first, even though that was his real dad.
that's so weird.
But
I had a similar situation with Jack with his mom, because like I don't know, he was asking me something or telling me something about his mom, and I was like, that's kind of out of character for her. I don't remember what, and I wasn't trying to like be hateful or anything. I was just like, I don't know, that's weird for her. And Jack was like, how do you know? I'm like, because I've known your mom longer than you. Like, and he was like, what? Like he just didn't, you know.
he'll get it when he's older. But yeah, I used to tell Gabriel that shit all the time. I was like, I called him dad first, so what the fuck ever. But back to the story. So we had these 2 storage units full of stuff, full of clothes, full of fucking stuffed animals, full of like I think there were bed frames, all types of furniture, right? And mom had been paying it, right? And then she had given that responsibility to Mike because mom was also managing a lot of the other bills, right? So
Right.
as far as mom knew, for about 6 months, he had been paying the bill. She would ask him, she would say, hey, did you pay the bill? Here's the money for the bill. Go pay the storage unit.
I remember the story.
Yes. So one day, mom's sitting at home, and she swears that she just got this feeling that she needed to call and make sure that the last payment was made. Not that all of them, but just that the last one was made. So she calls them. This is so-and-so, just calling to check on my storage unit, make sure my last payment was made. And the lady on the other line was like, oh, honey, oh, sweetheart, oh, those storage units were auctioned off about 2 or 3 months ago. And she's like, huh? She's like, yeah, we tried to contact you, and we had given you like a couple final notices, and we find. So, mom. If there's one thing about mom, is she is diabolical. She is the pettiest motherfucker I've ever met in my life. Okay, she doesn't even bring this up. You know what she does? Somehow, miraculously, she finds the people who bought our storage units, and she bought most of our stuff. Not all of it. A lot of our shit was lost, but she bought most of our shit back, and she did not tell him until they pulled up with the trailer to bring it back. She did not tell him that she knew what the fuck
Imagine
she
his
did.
face. I mean, you probably saw it, but I
I
wasn't
don't
there for
remember
that.
seeing it because I didn't know anything. To be honest with you, I didn't even know it was gone. Mom, when you're younger, mom will just be like, "Oh, they helped us bring the storage unit back, and we're just unloading a bunch of our old stuff." It had been in storage for like a year or 2. You know what I'm saying? So like it wasn't stuff that we were like missing off the top of our head. But when we go through, oh, I remember this is my stuff. Yeah,
Right.
dude, I could only imagine how she tore him a fucking new one. But he had a gambling problem. Like, so that's why I have always stayed away from any type of gambling. I don't make bets. I don't go to the casino. I went to the casino once, but it was for the buffet. It was not for gambling. And I don't know. I didn't know you were that type. Like, would you say it's a skill that you have to like when you gamble, you have to like, I don't know.
Every gambler thinks it's a skill. Like, it's
Or is it
gambling.
just chance?
It's chance.
So that's the thing about me and Chance. Me and Chance don't get along. Because chances are I'm going to fucking lose. That's just been so
I,
far.
I disagree. I disagree. I used to think that too, but like
Mm-mm.
over the past since sports betting became a thing, January of last January 10th or some weird fucking time last year. And so I guess in 14 months time, I've won $2,500. Um, well, I think it might have been closer to 28 or something like that. Um,
That's pretty good.
I hit like $1,900 this week.
Yeah, you were telling me about that, and that's what
Yeah,
kind of prompted this. Like, I didn't even, we call each other, we chat all the time, but like, I've never even heard you like say you gambled, or maybe you did, and I just never noticed. But that's crazy. I never
if you
knew
don't
that.
follow me on social media, I make memes and jokes about it all the time.
Clay, the other day I sent you a meme that you had like reposted, and I didn't even pay attention that it was you that post. Like, I don't be looking at shit, and that's something that I have to deal with a lot, is that I actually do not like technology, and I'm not technologically inclined. And I get hate because you're like, oh, you fucking Gen Z. Because I'm technically a Gen Z. I'm 21, and
Right. You are
not a
Gen
lot of
Z.
people know this. But like, people who just look at me won't guess that I'm 21. Everyone has always told me you're so mature. Someone told me the other day that like, oh, your aura is just so much mature. I would have guessed older. So I've gotten that my whole life. So
I mean,
when I have
fuck
to deal with
you.
like, yeah, when I have to deal with like the old people being like, oh, your generation, you're glued to y'all spot. I ain't glued to shit, bro. First of all, I've seen iRobot. I've seen Smart House. I don't fuck with either of them bitches. Okay.
You got a purple light connected to your little fucking AI robot in your house. I don't want to hear
My
shit.
boyfriend did this. You think I hooked this shit up? I didn't even use this for a solid
Well, I
year
don't think
when
you
I
hooked it
had
up by
it.
no means.
I didn't even
But
use it for like a solid year, but I could tell you a story about how ignorant and stupid I felt, right? So I was homeschooled most of my life, right? So when I got to high school, I went to high school in person, and I did not realize the transition from paper to computer was like that. I was ready to go to school. I got my pencils, I got my paper, I'm ready to take notes. Nah, we typing up in this hoe. Everybody got their own computer. I'm like, the fuck? The school gives you a computer. They provided me a computer to use. They gave me a case and everything.
the
I
Chromebook,
didn't,
yeah.
I didn't know how to use that shit. I'm
It's a
just
fucking
like,
laptop.
so Clay, we didn't use laptops. We had a fucking PC at home that had viruses on it. I never owned a fucking laptop before, bro.
Because your damn brother has watched too much porn.
I bought my first touchscreen phone myself with my own money that I got from babysitting. Okay,
Yeah, so did I.
my mom did not buy me. She bought me my first flip phone, but when I wanted a touchscreen phone, I had to work for that shit. But that I wasn't inclined at all. So it's like the first week of high school. Okay, and I'm not really sure. I've been watching like High School Musical and Disney Channel my whole life. So here I am thinking, it's all good, it's all fun. That one president said no child left behind type shit. So here I am, and no, that's not the way it was. So I had to do a presentation in Spanish class on like one of the fucking, I don't know. I think I had Honduras at that time. I was supposed to do it. They said do a slideshow. And I don't know why I wasn't smart enough to ask you or even ask Bridget for help. I didn't ask you for help on the slideshow, and I just didn't do it. And I went to the teacher, and I explained to him, it was that morning, it was the day of, right? And clearly I should have asked for help, but I didn't know that at the time.
You're
Here
like,
I am.
my pseudo parents are 24 and 25. They're always arguing with each other.
Yeah. So, right, because I'm living with you at the time. I wasn't living with my mother. I was living with my brother and his girlfriend, who are my legal guardians. It's already a weird situation. And I'm going
She
to high
wasn't
school
your
for the
legal
first
guardian.
time.
I was, for the
You
record.
were. Yeah, you were. So it was already a weird situation. First time back in public school in I don't know how many years, right? And
Dude, every time I had to go to like yours or Gabriel's open house, it was just so weird to the teachers because it was like I was the same age as your like fresh out of college a teacher. Like,
at least you got a little hint of what you were gonna get when Jack finally does get to high school. But I had gone to my Spanish teacher the morning before the presentation was due, And I politely explained to him that I did not do the assignment. And before I could finish, he interrupted me. He wasn't rude. He was a nice guy. But before I could finish on why, he never asked, why didn't you do it? Because I would have told him, I don't know how. No one ever taught me. I don't know what a slideshow is, right? But he never asked. So he went on a little, not even a rant, because he wasn't rude, but he went on a monologue. He was like, you kids these days, you just think that you cannot do things and you'll still get the credit. And we don't allow that in this day and age. And it's just pure laziness. And I won't stand for it. And he ended up saying, don't worry, because we're only going to do half the presentations today anyway. We're going to do the other half. So as long as you have it done by tomorrow, you'll be fine. But don't let this happen again, because this is not how we do things. Here I am. Bro. I'm like, okay. So I went home.
But that's when you learn. Like, I know this is probably not what you wanted to hear, but like that's probably what you needed to hear. You needed to hear that nobody gives a fuck about you in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, nobody cares about your feelings and your problems.
So this is when I started to realize that high school was like sink or swim. Do or die. Like, we don't care. Pass or don't, that's up to you. It's not do or die. That's a little dramatic, but I'm saying a way of, like, for education purposes. I remember in science class, I had got a little behind on the first unit, right? And I made like a C on the test. And I didn't know you had units, then you had a test, and you moved on. That was it. If you didn't catch it, oh well. I didn't know that. So here I am, a little shaky on the first topic. I'm like, whatever, we'll go on to the next topic. Not realizing you need the first topic to do the second topic.
Right.
And I was just like, we're gonna keep going. Okay, I didn't catch that.
I had a similar problem.
I didn't catch that. Like, if you don't always like catch on to it right away, they're gonna move on without you. I'm like, damn. Okay, shit. And because you was there, I was struggling with that C in science all year, wasn't I?
I don't know. I didn't really pay
all
attention.
year. When I got a C, I was like, fuck yeah, man. It had gotten down to like a D, and I brought it up to like a 75. I was like, fuck yeah, I'll take it.
When I had the custody of you, like, it wasn't like I wasn't really trying to be like your parent. I was just like your brother who's like, mom's up her shit again, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I was just kind of like in my own world at the time, especially because like I was in emotional turmoil at the time, you know what I mean? For obvious reasons.
Right. No, and I can understand that now, being 21, almost 22, the fact that you already had a kid by this point. Jesus Christ. I don't know how you stood it.
Hey, I'm in the middle of the podcast, okay? Go watch the show, that's fine. Go close the door if you want to listen to the TV, okay?
Yes, that's typically how it works in school. Missing shit makes it harder to make up later. Yes, well, that's not what they relayed in High School Musical. I was homeschooled for like 10 years. Okay, like
Atlas is actually do you teach high school? He's a teacher. He's a comedian buddy of mine.
I was homeschooled in Texas. Okay,
but that doesn't matter. You were homeschooled by mom. Like, that was a different.
No, it was shaky territory. The fact that, man, I got my fucking diploma, man, I was proud of that shit because I fought. Man, I did not know it was cutthroat out here in high school. And then the culture shock. Here I am coming from a little small town in southern Texas where, you don't have boyfriends, you don't have premarital sex and stuff, but everyone was always pregnant at 15. I don't know how that made sense, but
dude, because my high school had a daycare for the students, like the students' kids. Like, that was the crazy part.
A daycare in the high school for the students, not for the staff. The birth rate was so fucking high. They had to have they're like, please come to school, please. Please, please bring the kid. It's okay. Please just get a fucking education.
They need to learn too.
Shit. You think they touch on safe sex a little bit better down there, but it was very taboo. People didn't really want to have this conversation.
The class was like, they were having kids before you take the class.
They were on their second kid by the time they took the fucking. Oh, so here I am.
Yeah, agreed, Atlas.
16 years old, going to high school for the first time. obviously a virgin, never had sex, what never was even the question, couldn't have a boyfriend, never had my first kiss, by the way, at like 16. Here I am. I turned to this girl behind me and we started having a conversation. She's really sweet, she's really cute. She said something about, how many bodies do you have? The fuck?
That's way young to be like, you have more than one?
I'm like, what? Oh, clearly I know what she's talking about because I get the lingo. But I made a joke. I'm like, oh, I've never killed anyone. Da, da, da. I knew what she was talking about, but she was like, oh, I already have 5 bodies. At 15, they were
Still
4. I
alive,
was
bro.
16 because you got to remember I was a couple years behind when I went to high school. So
Right.
I was 16. They were 14 and 15. You talking about you
So
had sex with
you
5
were
different
supposed to be
people?
a junior, right? When you came up here and they put
When-
you in freshman year? Is that right? Or was you supposed to be a sophomore?
I would have been a junior. Technically, I would have been like sophomore, junior. If I had been on track and if I hadn't been held back in kindergarten. Weird situation, different topic. I was held back in kindergarten 1 year, and then the transfer from getting to Texas to Ohio took another year. So here I was looking stupid because I'm a few years behind when I'm just a victim of circumstance.
Again,
But I'm gonna
nobody
take that out
gives
because I'm
a
gonna
fuck
do
about
what I
the
gotta do.
problem.
I don't give a fuck if it took me till I was almost 20 to get my fucking diploma, bitch. I got it. Who gives a fuck, right? But it was just the culture shock was just such a turn.
I mean, you and me are the only ones that have a diploma with mom's kids, to be fair.
No, Cullen has a diploma. Cullen has a diploma. Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that.
Okay, but does that even count?
He has his special education diploma. He went to a special needs school. He has a special education diploma.
He can't even read. He's legally unable to read.
Not that it right. So we kind of we overlooked that one, right? Out of the ones who could, we were the only. Well, Gabriel's not done yet. Let's not talk about that. But anyway, high school was crazy, and you know what? I finally caught on. But I also went to a rich school. Like they're kind of rich.
Yeah, because I live in a really nice area. It's starting to kind of the housing market or the housing value or whatever starting to drop where I live a little bit. But when you lived here with me, it was a very nice area.
It was, and like I said, I didn't know. Used to be, I thought I was going to high school that was like 90s, 2000s era, where it's like fitting in is not cool. Like we're different, we're weird, we're eccentric, we smoke pot. When I went to high school, everyone wanted to smoke nicotine. Not only that, they wanted to smoke vapes. And I know I'm vaping right now, so it's a little condescending, but at this time, I was smoking underage. I'll give it that. I was addicted to cigarettes. Who wouldn't be? If you knew my mom. Anyway, so kids would be like, you want to hit my nic? I'm like, you're what? My nicotine? Nah, I'm good. Because I'm going to take these 8 hours. I'm going to go home.
Careful how you pronounce that word.
Like nicotine. That's what the kids said. I'm just like NIC, nicotine.
Make sure you pronounce every sound in that word.
No, I got you, bro. I got you. But here are these kids being like, you want to smoke like nicotine vapes. When I was like, no, I'll go home and smoke a cigarette because I don't need nicotine when I'm at school. Like I can wait a few hours. I'll just go hit a cigarette. I'll be good. And I had my first boyfriend at the time, fucking asshole. We were at a park and he saw a Juul pod on the ground, an empty one. First of all, the Juul was super in with the kids because it looked like a micro USB port. And they ended up getting sued for that. And they ended up getting fucking sued for that. They did. Here I am, a fucking stoner pothead wanting to smoke weed. Everybody wants to smoke nicotine. I'm like, y'all are fucking lame. Like, no one wanted to smoke pot with me. I'm like, y'all are fucking lame. All of you.
Okay, but Liberty, what? How old were you? You were like, what, 14? When Mom, I literally had to peel our mother off of my girlfriend at the time, like literally fucking punching her because she was buying you cigarettes.
That's a different story.
And not only that, but I literally probably a week later, since you were no longer getting cigarettes bought for you, I watched you look down on the ground from a distance. I saw this from a distance, okay? I don't know if you ever saw it because I never.
You're gonna out me like this right now. You're gonna out me like this.
in a parking lot, no less, of a restaurant. Saw a half-smoked cigarette, picked it up, pulled a lighter out of your pocket like you were ready, like you did this before, and then lit it. I just walked away too. I just walked away. You didn't see me. You
Could've
didn't.
been
I
worse.
don't know that I ever called you out on that till just now.
You've never. I'm so embarrassed. I was never
I
gonna admit
just
to
was
this.
like,
I
oh
was
my
never
God.
gonna admit to this, but you know what? Life is hard. Life is hard and it's not
Life
fair.
is
But clearly I have grown from the situation. I understand that it's smoking a
This
cigarette
was
off the ground
before
is
all that.
disgusting.
Before you came to live with me.
I was underage, bro. I was fucking 14. I was a fucking dumbass, right? Clearly, I know now that is fucking disgusting. I could have contracted anything. I would never do that in this day and age. My life was hard.
You were a little badass, like, and
No,
not in
I
a good way.
wasn't. No, I
Compared to
wasn't.
me,
Because
yeah,
when mom
you
was
were. I
17,
don't know.
when mom was 17, she was pregnant.
But compared
I
to
did not
me,
get knocked up.
you were a
I did not
badass
get
compared to me.
I did not get
When I
knocked
was
up.
14, I was trying to figure out how to get laid. Like, that was it. That was the worst thing I was doing at 14, was trying to figure out, and didn't figure it out for like 2 more years, by the way.
I'll admit that when I moved in with you, I was a little badass. I was.
Bro, you got worse. You got
I
worse.
acted
You were like, do you know how many times I wanted to just like fucking stop?
Yeah, probably. And I can understand. And I could get it. And I know now. But at the time, bro, it felt different. Clearly now, I would never. But we all got to take our shit, man. We all got to do what we got to do. But clearly I was acting out because I had just moved like 2,000 miles away from my mother. You know what I'm saying? You know, in a whole
To
other
Cleveland,
state.
Ohio.
Thrown
For the
into
record.
high school for the first. There was a lot of shit going on. If I could go back and do things differently, I'm sure I would. But you gotta admit, my grades were good. I had good grades.
You did have good grades, from what I remember. I feel like my ex was more involved in your education than I was, though, because I'm just not
Can I say this?
educationally inclined. You know.
Can I say this, or would that be like rude to say? Because I'm fixing to say something about her.
Don't name names, but yeah. Say
About your
whatever you
baby
want. Just
mama.
don't name names. Huh?
Your baby mama was first person to ever give me like a
The sex
a
talk.
pillow.
I remember
No,
being told
no,
that.
you're
You're like, no, different story.
No, bro. I used to tell her that I would be like anxious, and she'd be like, "Here, take this," and she'd give me a little fuck. Yeah, bro. So let's not say that like, yeah, I was a bad
I
kid,
know
but
all that.
clearly my surrounding. No, because we kept it from you, but clearly my surroundings were a little harsh. You know what I'm saying? But I got it back. Okay, I got it back. Don't like my karma came around. But we
Okay,
all
well,
had
what was your
we all
karma?
gotta do shit when we're. What's my karma,
Yeah, what was your
bro?
karma? I want to hear this. I want to know this. Tell the story.
Bro, I had like a couple $1,000 stolen from me, like all around the same time. Couldn't get it back, and then like my sister dropped dead on like a Sunday, and I'm like, what the fuck, bro? It was some fuck shit. But I like.
Is that karma though? Or is
I
that
don't
just
know if it's my
timing?
karma, but it's definitely like, you know, shit happens to you and you got to reflect on the things that you've done as you get older and realize that, yeah, I fucked up. And I definitely fucked up. I was smoking weed and I was smoking cigarettes as a kid. But there are things that I made sure I wasn't doing. I wasn't getting pregnant. I wasn't having sex. And I wasn't drinking alcohol either. And I really wasn't like partying. I wasn't sneaking out. Like I wouldn't sneak out at night and go party with people. I wasn't, you know, like I'd go to the park and like hit a dab pen with my friend or some
Well,
shit.
what's crazy is that you didn't drink or anything like that, because when I was 16-ish, maybe closing in on 17, my best friend got busted for like he got like they had busted him bringing vodka to school mixed in like Sunny D. Like, so he's basically bringing screwdrivers to school, which that wasn't even like the craziest part. Like, the reason they even found out in the first place that he had a drinking problem, like what the first domino to fall was they like found him sleeping in the street in our not in our neighborhood, like at like 9 in the morning on a Sunday. The cops found him. Thought he was dead at first until they like
I know who you're talking about. Oh my god, I
yeah,
remember.
Kevin,
I had
yeah.
no idea. You said you
And
just
then
said
yeah,
don't
so
name drop
all this
nothing.
shit like broke out, and he had to go to like rehab back where his parents are from. His parents are from Wisconsin, so he had to go like to a rehab facility school for like adolescents, living with his grandparents for like a year before he came back. It was so in like everybody was like, "Did you know about this?" I'm like, "No, I never knew." Blah blah blah. But I was like drinking with him, not to his extent, mind you. But yeah, like
Was
I
he
was.
going through it like that? Like, you know, you were his best friend at the time. Like, was his shit like that
He
bad that
wasn't.
you
No,
could
that's the crazy
see?
part is he wasn't like depressed or sad or anything. He just had a drinking problem.
He just like drinking.
Yeah, like
He just
he was
liked it.
actually hilarious to hang out with when we were drinking. Like he was most. It's kind of he had a very similar personality to when I'm drinking.
That's what I'm saying. Like, let's talk about some of the fuck shit that you was doing when you was a kid. Cause I know you was doing shit that mom probably don't even know about.
I mean, there was this one time where I was hanging with Kevin. Um, I don't know. I think this was after he came back from rehab, and it was the middle of the night. Um, Weekend, summertime. I don't know. I just know we didn't have school the next day, and like there was a gas station at the end of the neighborhood, right? And so we went down there. It was a 24-hour gas station, and we bought big gulps, the biggest one they had, like damn near a gallon of soda, and we chugged the whole fucking thing. And we were just like out bullshitting, right? And then it came time to take a piss, but we were too far from home to like go take. But we were too far from the gas station too, so like we both had to take pisses bad, so
Were
we filled them
y'all
up in the
in
cup.
were y'all in the neighborhood? The
No,
neighborhood
this
that
is
we
after
were
they
in?
moved.
Okay.
So this is after they moved to that nicer neighborhood.
Okay.
Um, and which is why I didn't have school because I was over there at their house. And so we took pisses in the cups that we had, our soda cups, filled it up, right? And then Kevin had this like idea. He was like, "Hold on." I'm like, "This is about to be good." Like, anytime Kevin said, "Hold on," I knew it was gonna be some fuck shit. You know what I mean? Like, so he took both the cups and like put them in the street, pop the lids off, and then run back towards me. He's like, "We're gonna stay here and wait." I'm like, "To watch somebody drive over?" He's like, "Yes." And we were just chilling, kind of like inconspicuously off in the side of that road or whatever. And this is like, I wouldn't call it like a major road, but it was like the road that's like outside of the neighborhood. You know what I mean? It's like a pretty serious road. It's not like we're in the neighborhood. We're
And
on
he
the
was
outside of the
doing
neighborhood.
this in a nicer neighborhood too. That's
Yeah.
what's
Oh, fuck
messed
yeah.
up. No situational awareness. Jesus.
I feel like it was great situational awareness because like it's not funny when you do it to poor people.
And
And
y'all and,
so what?
and y'all threw it? Not
No,
y'all
we didn't
he?
throw it. We left them
Oh.
in the street.
Oh.
We left
That's
them in
not
the
as
street.
bad. That's not
Okay,
as bad.
and we waited for somebody to hit them. You know, and it worked out way better than we ever imagined it would because the car that uh it was had to been 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, so somebody coming home from the bar, right? And it was like I remember to this day it was like a red sports car, like some kind of like I don't know cars like that, but had it been like I don't know like a Ferrari or a Mustang or something, right? And this dude, he was flying. He was this is all you hear. And we're like, this is gonna be good. Like you can hear it coming. You know what I mean? It's a loud ass car, and he's flying, and he hits them, and they go flying up in the air, and he was in a convertible. So they come into his car.
Y'all did
And
not.
you just hear, oh hell! Like he didn't crash or anything. He just like slammed on his brakes, and he's got piss all over.
And not to mention, like when you've
And
been
we
drinking
just
that,
took off running.
not to mention, like when you've been drinking that much, that piss just smells like straight fucking alcohol piss. Like it's
We
fucking
weren't drinking.
disgusting.
We
No,
weren't
you.
drinking
This was
because
sober.
Kevin had. This was after Kevin had come back from rehab.
Y'all are disgusting.
He was. I don't know how. Like I don't keep up with him anymore. But like when he came back from rehab, his whole thing was weed. So he was like, "I'm
Oh.
sober," but it was weed.
He's,
I'm like,
he's
"Okay, you're sober."
California. He's California sober. That's what they call it. When
Right.
you smoke weed,
Right.
that's
So at the time
California sober.
we weren't drinking alcohol. We did this totally sober.
That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Yeah. So yeah, like we've got some crazy stories from our fucking childhood. You know, like
I have
there's
crazy
so much
stories
shit.
from every era of my life. Probably every year of my life.
I don't know about that, but
I do. I know I
we
do.
definitely got some crazy stories. And then there was one time I had a boyfriend when I moved up to Ohio for like a second. Like I didn't like this guy that much. And we were in the park and we're like newly together. We've probably been together for like 2 weeks. And he sees like a jewel pod on the ground. And he goes, because this is in reference to that story you were telling about me picking up the cigarette, right?
Right.
So he bends down and he like hunches over it like fucking Schmeagle and goes, "Oh, a pod." And I'm like, "A what?" He goes, "Are you dumb? It's a jewel pod." I'm like, "Yeah, we're fixing to break up." I didn't say that, but I was like, "Oh,
But you picking up that cigarette was before that happened, so like you were no better.
no, I wasn't." But clearly, I had seen it, and I was like, "That's crackhead shit, bro." I didn't know nicotine had a hold. I didn't know nicotine had a hold on them like that when it came to like vapes. I could get behind a cigarette because I felt like at the time I felt like a cigarette just gave you so much more nicotine at once. It just felt like harder. What am I gonna
Anything
do?
digital is better, like gonna be stronger.
And I'm like, what
Or
am I
has
gonna
the
do with
ability to
fucking?
be stronger.
I'm like, what am I gonna do with a fucking vape, bro? I'm gonna fucking blow some fucking blueberry out? No, I need a fucking tobacco. And it wasn't until last year that I actually quit cigarettes and switched to vapes because it's really just the convenience. Like I can hit a vape in my apartment, I can hit a vape like in the bathrooms at my job while I'm cleaning the bathrooms. Like it's much more convenient and it does give you more nicotine as well. Like these, oh yeah, a lot more nicotine than a cigarette. I was clearly proven wrong. But my whole perception of what I thought high school was going to be was not what it was. Because I went to a rich school, I didn't know that everybody was wearing Adidas. I didn't know everyone was wearing Nike. I didn't know everybody was wearing Chanel or Gucci or like it was name brand shit all the way, tracksuits. And I think I even made a comment to my friend at the time because here I am coming from rural Texas to Mayfield, Ohio. Huge, crazy switch. I said to my friend, I was like, so no dudes wear jeans up here, huh?
It's all sweatpants, right?
Oh, I'm like, damn.
What they call them? They're joggers.
And they're like,
Joggers.
no, they're like, no, we're not cowboys up here. I'm like, I'm not even talking about like a cowboy. I'm just talking about like nobody wears like blue jeans or like there wasn't a whole lot of like emos either. Like no one was. It wasn't goth. There wasn't
I mean, that
scene.
was
It
more
was.
my era, though. The
It
emo
was.
thing, the goth thing, that was more my
And like
youth.
also being from Texas where having tattoos, having piercings, having colored hair is not a thing. You don't do that in high school or middle school in Texas. Like you'll get in trouble.
I
for
mean,
that.
we tried.
You couldn't even have long
The
hair.
school wasn't a. The school was just like they just were like, no, you can't do that.
Whereas Mayfield, they had a dress code, But they didn't give a fuck what you like, what color your hair was, if you had tattoos, if you had piercings. If you came to fucking class and you paid attention, they don't give a shit. Dudes were walking
Yeah.
around with like
I
full
think
fucking sleeves.
I think Cleveland and Mayfield, it was just like wear clothes, please. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
they were very adamant about like girls can't wear jeans with like holes in the thighs, like we'll make you put duct tape on them, like you can't show your midriff. And something else I didn't realize going into school, which makes more sense now that everything's been going on. You weren't allowed to carry your backpack around with you. They said you couldn't carry your purse around with you.
I mean, I think
You know why?
that's like a safety thing, right?
Yeah, that's like new. That's newly implemented, and I was not aware. Here I am buying a cute backpack for it to sit in my locker all day, and I got to carry these heavy fucking books around, and nobody uses pencils. We all use a goddamn computer. Everybody's having sex, and I'm just like here.
You know what I did in school? Like, this was before all that, but I put my I figured out what classes, like within the first like 2 weeks of what classes I was gonna need textbooks and what classes I wasn't.
Yeah,
And then I just left the ones that didn't need textbooks in the locker the entire year because for whatever reason they would be like, you need your textbook for every class, and so all the students would bring their textbook, and I'm like, these teachers don't make us read from the textbook, so I'm not bringing shit. Like there was obviously some that made us read from textbook almost every day, so I just like put them on my teacher's bookshelf when she wasn't looking, like because every teacher has like a bookshelf in their class. And I just put my textbook in there, and then I would come to class and grab it real quick before the teacher would come in, and so I wouldn't have to carry books and go to my. I never went to my locker. I never went to my locker every year, all 4 years.
that's
All
hilarious.
3.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
you gotta learn to game the system, man. Like
That's hilarious.
I was too, like, I don't want to like pat myself on the back and say I was like too smart for school, because like it was like I was too lazy for school. You know what I mean? Like it was like, if I could figure out how to make this easier, I'm going to. I just didn't. I was there to have a good time, not to learn. You know.
I was there to learn because I knew right away, like, you're not going to get nowhere without a fucking high school diploma. And at the time I was planning on like graduating from that school. And I thought, and you know what? I finally got to live out my dream in that high school because their mascot was Wildcats. Yeah.
Wildcats in the house.
Deadass. I was a
remember.
Wildcat. I don't give a fuck to this day. Like, I'm a Wildcat. I don't give a fuck.
Did you meet a guy named Troy?
No.
No. Damn.
A lot of Bryans. There's a lot of Bryans.
A lot of Bryans.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was an interesting experience altogether. And even now that I am back down here in the South, it is tremendously way different. I was even thinking to myself just today that even the mindset around like women's bodies is different down here. Like, thicker women get a lot more attention down here than they do in Ohio. Ohio is definitely more towards like the slimmer, thinner, like slim thick era, whereas like in the South they like them like really thick. I don't know. I think it goes down back to like.
I don't think it's Ohio. I think it's Cleveland. There's a difference.
I think it's like. I think
we're the
northern.
Midwest, so the second you leave like the suburbs in the inner city of Cleveland, like it gets real thick real quick. Because like, I mean, you've heard Kid Rock's song "Cocky." He literally says in the song, "I don't like skinny models. I like big, thick, corn-fed Midwestern hoes."
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we're in the corn state, no less. You know what I mean? Ohio's the corn state. So it's really just because we're in the city. And you don't live in the city either. You've never really lived in the city outside of when you lived with me.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, anytime you live in a city, there's just different standards than the whole rest of the state. You know?
For sure. I heard, you know what I heard recently? I heard Miami, that some of their clubs have weight limits. Like, not legally because it's considered discrimination, but a lot of women have come forth and said that like clubs in Miami will like keep you from entering if you
That's
don't look
everywhere.
good enough. Right, because it comes off as
That's
like we're
everywhere.
a high class place. What you're wearing isn't the attire. They could say anything technically, but a lot of people were saying it was because they were big. They didn't want big women in the clubs. I'm like, damn, Miami's like that. Shit. Ooh, that's
That's
crazy.
I think that happens everywhere though. I think that
Probably.
I don't go to clubs, so I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I've heard similar stories everywhere. So
Yeah, it's
here,
probably like
Houston,
you said, cities.
yeah. Well, I mean, you gotta think about it. Like, clubs are for like high rolling dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're there. They let the women in for free because they know the dudes with money are gonna spend their money. You
Yeah, like
know,
ladies'
so.
night and stuff like
And if
that.
it's, and no offense, but like to anybody, but if the club's full of fat girls, the rich dudes are gonna be like, "Fuck this place, I'm gonna go somewhere else." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's just life. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like no matter what you think, how you feel about like body positivity, there are the dudes. Most dudes are gonna be like, I'm here to pick up like the most dumbest, skinniest, bimboest chick here. You know what I mean? Like I'm not here to
Yeah.
pick up Lizzo. You know, like.
Yeah, and a lot of like the high class, super rich, like millionaire, billionaires, like they have like an image to keep up. So even
Right.
if they were attracted to someone who was bigger, they probably wouldn't show it because they have such
Right.
an image to keep up. They need just like the hottest eye candy. And I don't know if you heard, but like the Victoria's Secret show that was supposed to be like all inclusive and all different body
I hear you
types
about this.
fucking crashed and burned and everyone hated it and they're like bring back the anorexic models, we don't care, like we don't give a fuck.
Let's go, Jack.
So the body positivity went from its peak at like 2020 and then shot the lowest it's ever been. Kim Kardashian took her fucking ass implant out. Chloe's on Ozempic. Like it's heroin chic all over again. Skinny
I think the
is
problem with that,
in.
I think there's just a simple problem with that, and it's just that like anytime somebody wants to be like uh I don't know, positive and see progress in any way, everybody takes it too fucking far. You know what I mean? Whether it's body positivity or it's like wokeness or if it's like the Me Too movement, anything like that, they always start with good intentions and then they just turn into like fucking like, oh fuck everybody who is the opposite of like, you know what I mean? Like it's just like
Right,
psycho
right.
shit, dude.
Like
Feminism.
even cancel culture, like even that is
Yeah,
out
all of that
because
shit.
people were over just canceling people. Like we're just like we can't cancel everyone. People make mistakes because people do make mistakes. Like there's shit that I've done when I was younger that I wouldn't advise people to do and I would never do again. You know, I don't want it to have to be like up in everybody's bed. And there's some shit that isn't forgivable. Don't get me wrong. There's some shit that's like, hey, we probably should cancel that person. You know, they should have canceled a while ago. But
I don't know. I don't think cancel it. I don't agree with cancel culture in general.
you can't really cancel people unless you take it to the cops.
Yeah,
That's how you
I
cancel
think it
people.
should just be like if this person did something illegal, they can go to jail. You know what I mean? Let them have their day in court. You
That's
know,
what it
like
is. Like you
I don't
got
really
like
believe in cancel culture. If it's bad enough where it's a legit crime, then fine. Like you know, whoever needs to go to the authorities. And
yeah,
I mean,
cancel
and
them.
I'm also of the opinion that like we need when people are like, oh, the justice system is like a sham and it's rigged and it's well, I agree with you, which is why we need to focus on fixing our justice system and like police reform and all of that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's what we need to focus on before we start. We're gonna cancel him. So what? Like, if you don't like what he has to say, don't watch it. You know, even if he says like some crazy shit, like just don't watch it. You know what I mean? Like, it's you don't really have to cancel it. It's just enough people will be like, and then that dude will either shut the fuck up or he'll continue saying what he says and then end up being stuck talking into like an empty chat room. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so
for sure. Real quick, do you want to do a movie trivia question? I think you might get this one.
sure.
Okay, so this is film, the genre, so it's about like a movie. It says, who is the most featured actor in Hollywood as of 2021, appearing in 138 movies?
Gary Oldman.
Nope. You want the answer?
I'll take another crack at it. 120 something movies you said as of 2021.
138 movies. They are the most featured actor, so he's the most
Samuel
featured
Jackson.
actor. Yep, you got it. Oh my god. That's the
I knew it
answer.
was either one of those two. Gary
Samuel
Oldman or
Jackson.
Sam Jackson.
That's pretty cool. You got it right. That's what's up.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they're every time you go watch like an old movie, one of them they're in one of those movies. You know, sometimes they're in movies together, but like so
For sure.
they're like, oh shit, Sam Jackson is. Because
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson had a career before his career took off. You know what I mean? Like a pretty
Yeah.
steady career, and then his
Yeah,
career
he
took
was
off, and he
on.
just kept that same mentality.
Yep. Yeah, so I had got this trivia game, and some of them are pretty good. They have different like genres. You're supposed to do a whole thing with the game where you like roll the marble at some bowling pins. I'm not doing that. Just grab the cards and ask each other questions. Like I'm not. So yeah, me and my boyfriend have been doing it, and there was some shit on here that was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And there was some shit that was like, how the fuck was I supposed to know that? Like, because there's a section called general knowledge, and I'm like, that sounds rude. First of all, that was not general knowledge. That was not everybody knows it. Nope. Ask
I
anybody.
had this game with my baby mama. She had an old trivia game, and we played it. And I just, I didn't even think about it, but like they kept asking questions, and I kept answering them, and it would say I was wrong or whatever. And then I'm like, "What the fuck is going on here?" And she's like, "Oh, this is from like 1994. Like this is my dad's." Like I'm like,
wrong.
yeah. So I kept like Googling my answers. I was like, I was right on the majority of these fucking, but that because of how old this shit is. Like there was one question where like, what is the most profitable airline in America or whatever? And I was like, oh, Southwest or something, whatever at the time. And it ended up being Pan Am, and I was like, Pan Am went under in the 90s. God damn it!
Damn. Not the movie from Catch Me If You Can, bro. What?
Yeah, that was like the original airline.
Yeah.
I was like pissed. I was like, I don't want to play this game anymore.
Yeah, but I liked it. If we could figure out how to like include this in the podcast, that'd be pretty cool. We'd have like a section like where you could ask me some, I could ask you some, but you don't have the same cards as me, so that we're gonna have to figure something out. But that one was pretty good. You got that one. And
I feel like we could just pull trivia off the internet, and it could be fresh too.
Yeah, we could do that.
I liked what you said about drunk trivia. That would be fun.
That would be fun.
We'd have to do it on Tuesdays, though. Is the only thing. Because I only drink on Tuesdays now.
I could do it on Tuesdays. I could.
Because you don't work on Wednesdays.
No,
right.
So I am off on Tuesday night. So if I'm hungover, it'll be okay because I'm not working the next morning. So
right. I don't get hungover.
I don't either, but sometimes
I just feel like shit every day. So
I don't think I get hungover, but I definitely don't always like drinking because drinking can be turned from fun to like not fun really fast. So I don't know. I don't know how drunk I'm gonna get on this drunk trivia. I might be doing shots of like some Mike's Hard Lemonade or something. I don't know if I could be taking shots of vodka back to back on a Tuesday. But
well, I'm charging for shots on Hammered and Cheese now. So like I got like 99-cent like Jello shots and like $5 regular shots.
That's
so
pretty
like
cool.
we could probably do something similar to that.
That'd be pretty cool.
And honestly, you wouldn't even have to get drunk. Like we could just make it where I'm answering trivia. Fucking just because by the time Hammer and Cheese is over, I'm already like smashed already to begin with. So what up, Dino? Yeah. We're actually talking about Hammer and Cheese. That's funny. We said the name too many times. He popped in.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't you have that cooking show going on here in a little bit?
Well, I actually have the one I do with Jack going on about half an hour. So I am gonna have to hop off here in a second. So
All right. Well, that sounds good. I feel like
I
we
don't
really
start
hashed it
hammered.
out.
I start buzzed. Okay, I don't start hammered.
You don't start sober?
Start the show sober? No, I immediately as soon as I start, I've already had 2 of something, 2 drinks, 2 beers, 2 shots, whatever. 2
I'd be too
wines.
fucked up. But you got to take into the account that anytime I'm drinking, I'm already smoking marijuana. So I'm not just drunk. I'm
Oh yeah, you don't want to do that, dude.
crossfaded. Oh, I do it every time.
Mhm.
I'm not drinking alcohol without the, you know what I'm saying?
Every
Like,
time I got crossfaded, I ended in a night of like miserable, like misery and hugging a toilet. Like
that's the only time I can do it. But I'll tell you what, cigarettes do sound a lot more appealing when you're drunk. I'll tell you that
I
much.
love a good cigarette while I'm drinking,
A
dude.
drunk cigarette is the best kind of cigarette. I'm telling you.
I mean, I know
telling
you're a
you.
chick, but honestly, a cigar is way better.
I've had a cigar. I've had cigars before. They're all right. I feel like they don't get the job done. I feel like they're kind of like showing off a little bit. Like, look at me, I got money. I'm chewing on a cigar. Yeah, you're chewing. You can't even inhale this shit. What are you doing with it? Getting mouth cancer? Are you even getting a buzz off of it? The fuck? No, I need to take that.
You get a
I need
slight buzz from a cigar.
I need you to inhale that shit because the bitches I would give a cigarette to, and then you see them blowing the shit. Bitch, if you don't inhale that fucking cigarette I just gave to you, the fuck, I'm gonna start charging you $1 because you're not. What are you doing? Getting a little lip buzz?
Dino
make no
says
sense.
you sound way cooler than Cole already.
I sound a lot cooler than I am. I'll tell you that much. But
I feel
anyway,
like I sound a lot cooler than I am.
yeah, definitely. Anyway, it was good talking to you. I guess I'll catch up with you next week about whatever happens to me next week. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. It sounds like you
All
had a
right.
pretty chill week. It's like you had a dramatic week before the last week's show. I had a dramatic week this week. So like yeah, we're just gonna keep this cycle of hell going.
Yeah,
So
let's
we have
just
stuff
keep
to
it
talk
going.
about.
All right, same time next week. I might tune in for you and Jack's cooking show here in a little bit.
Hell yeah, I am definitely cooler than I sound. Yeah,
That
that's
too.
true. Kyle.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Come check out the show. We're gonna make homemade chicken nuggets.
All right. Bye, everybody. Catch you
Peace
later.
out.